What's up everyone, and welcome back to HateWatchers as we continue our review of this third season of The Mandalorian. Today we're going over episode 6, Guns for Hire. And we don't usually say this, but make sure to stick around for the review portion after the breakdown. We've got a lot to say about this one. Anyway, let's get right into the breakdown. Spoilers ahead. We open up with an intricate, well-crafted scene involving some rogue Mandalorians and some seafood characters that's so irrelevant to the rest of the episode we don't feel like explaining it further. Moving to Ho-Katan and Mando, they're arriving at the Epcot Center in search of the rogue Mandalorians and are greeted by two African-American droids. Have a good day, honkies. They take the tram to the food court where Jack Black and Queen Lizzo the Hutt are hosting an all-you-can-eat buffet, but one where all of the food is for Lizzo. We meet the newest planet added to the Star Wars canon, Lizzo, and we learn that its orbit is so strong that it sucked all of the goodness out of the Star Wars universe. In order to meet the rogue Mandalorians, Mando and Ho must first deal with some droids that are malfunctioning around town. Dr. Emmett Brown shows the Mandos some of the funniest highlights of droids malfunctioning. To pinpoint the malfunctioning droids, Dr. Brown sends them down to talk to the pig-faced people. And to be clear, that means the Ugnaughts, not Lizzo.
Let's just finish this so we can be on our way.
Our thoughts exactly, Bo. The Ugnaughts, being the pigs that they are, ignore the woman talking, but perk up when Mando says, "Listen up, you pig-nosed fucks." The Ugnaughts claim they're not malfunctioning, they're just trying to kill Lizzo because her fucking weight on the planet's surface threatens their underground lives. Mando and Ho track down some old battle droids, and Mando starts bullying the droids because of the color of their plating, and then Ho starts shooting one of the innocent ones. As they chase down a rogue droid, Ho makes mind-blowing use of her jetpack to clear a 1-foot-tall obstruction. Mando and Ho gun down the dark-skinned droid and pull a business card off of it that just so happens to lead them to the suspects. While Lizzo's Jenny Craig consultant helps them search for clues, a droid attacks them and somehow misses this land whale before Mando slices it in half. They find out the droids were programmed by Dr. Brown, but when the Mandos confront him, he threatens to press a big red button that would allow him to say the N-word.
Don't make me do it.
He outs himself as a separatist supremacist loyal to Count Dooku, and Ho tases him. We return to see the royal couple playing a game, and Lizzo's score is higher than her A1C levels. Dr. Brown gets exiled, and the Mandos get the ultimate honor, a key to Lizzo's secret food pantry. Oh, and they can talk to the Mandalorians they came here seeking, but who gives a fuck? Then Grogu gets knighted, because fuck it, who cares at this point? Just let Lizzo do whatever the hell she wants so she'll waddle the fuck away. Mando and Ho meet with the Mandalorians where Ho wants to reclaim her fleet, so she challenges the patriarchy for it. She taps this guy's shoulder, sending him flying backward 10 feet. Ho wins because of course she does, and now she's the leader of everyone. Mando gives up the darksaber to Ho because she's a strong woman, and the episode comes to an end. Well, we've reached that point in the video where we have to decide if this episode was a great watch or a hate watch. This one is a big fat Lizzo-sized hate watch. This is the absolute worst Mandalorian episode ever, and it's a shining example of what people were concerned about when Disney first bought Star Wars. This show has officially jumped so far over the shark that it all just feels like one big commercialized circle jerk. We couldn't help but notice that Bryce Dallas Howard directed this one, so it's no big surprise she'd want to suck off Hollywood and stuff every celebrity she can on set. But Disney has no fucking idea how to handle cameos. Star Wars and fantasy worlds in general have little wiggle room for big celebrities, or fucking massive celebrities in Lizzo's case, because they tend to overshine the world and destroy the illusion. It undoes years of storytelling just to cater to the ego of celebrities and of a director born into Hollywood who has no idea why normal people would even have an issue with this. Long story short, celebrity cameos like this are a big fat fucking problem. And I like Jack Black. I like Christopher Lloyd. I even like how Lizzo doesn't listen to her haters, like doctors or experts on solving world hunger. But you can't possibly throw all three into one episode and expect us to come away feeling like we watched anything other than a Disney commercial. And if that wasn't bad enough, we're now 6 episodes in, 75% of the way. There's just 2 episodes remaining in season 3. And we're not doing a damn thing at this point. We're spending entire episodes on side stories and subplots at the end of the season. This whole episode had 3 minutes of development for the main storyline. And that 3 minutes just continued the unexplainable dismantling of everything we did in the second season of The Mandalorian. At the end of season 2, Din gets the darksaber, Grogu goes off to train with Luke, and Moff Gideon is in custody. Now, without any explanation at all, the Darksaber is with Bo, Baby Yogurt is back, and Gideon walks free. Season 2 is nothing more than a huge waste of time now. Good job, Disney. And as of now, all signs are pointing to Bo being the titular, no pun intended, Mandalorian, not Din Djarin. Her story has completely hijacked the show, and Mando just wanders around in the background, reduced to a walking, talking plot device there to further empower Bo when she needs it. A lot of people will call this episode filler, but this is so much worse than filler. This is purposely deconstructing the entire narrative developed over the first 2 seasons. This is going full kamikaze with Mickey Mouse crashing a Star Destroyer into an aircraft carrier full of Star Wars fans. Even if you're able to find a way to fight off Lizzo's overpowering orbit and getting sucked into the void of not giving a single fuck about what you're seeing on screen with this episode, the plot is still some serious Disney-level nonsense. Bo needs to get her fleet back, sure, but should we really be spending 45 minutes on getting back 12 Mandalorians? You have a planet to retake, people. Have these Mandalorians all been away from home for so long that they've forgotten how big a planet is? So, in theory, we're going to be led to believe that by the end of 2 more episodes, where they'll have 36 more Mandalorians at this rate, they'll be strong enough to inhabit and rebuild and protect a planet, which as we saw already, has its own dangerous inhabitants. Or let's look at the malfunctioning droids in this episode. Were these lethal former battle droids murdering citizens by the dozens and gripping the planet in mechanized terror? No, they were throwing trash cans and dropping boxes and messing up people's food orders. And somehow this Looney Tunes bullshit was supposed to destabilize the planet and resurrect the separatist movement and revive the legacy of Count Dooku? Disney is just throwing dildos at a whiteboard coming up with ideas now. You can't convince me otherwise. Oh, and don't forget this high-flying action. And did Grogu go train with Luke fucking Skywalker for 2 years so that he could come back and become Din's partner or take down some evil bad guy? Nope, he uses his powers to help Lizzo play a game for 10 seconds that she's going to count as her workout for the day. Even when the culprit gets brought before Lizzo the Hutt, he's proud and defiant. But then one sentence of shame out of her food cavern is able to make him see the error in his ways, and he's overcome with a desire to repent. It's so Disney it hurts. And I guess we're back to the Darksaber being important again, because Disney wants to move more merchandise, not because it makes sense from a storytelling perspective or anything. This was the worst episode of The Mandalorian ever produced. It's one of the worst Star Wars products ever released, and it really couldn't have come at a worse time. Disney Star Wars is floundering. Movies are getting canceled left and right. They've put the future of their Star Wars movie franchise in the hands of Taika Waititi. Kathleen Kennedy looks set to die with her icy grip still firmly on the reins of Lucasfilm. And most everyone is still trying to figure out what the hell we're doing here with Season 3 of The Mandalorian. The show has become too episodic, which is something that Favreau prides himself on. Oh, you can jump in and enjoy these little self-contained stories each week. Then go make a fucking cartoon. We've now just ended up 6 episodes into an 8-episode season with no bad guy, a regression from everything accomplished in the previous season, and a weak overall story at best. And everyone is to blame. Even if it's just Kathleen Kennedy forcing these awful decisions on Favreau, then in that scenario, he should stop being an overpaid coward and say that publicly. Because The Mandalorian is Favreau's baby, and if that's the case, then Kathleen is aborting his baby right in front of him, and he's doing nothing to stop it. And Filoni is likely absent, working on the Ahsoka show, but he's massively overrated anyway. Do I need to remind you he introduced time travel to Star Wars, and he's prone to bending Star Wars to fit his perverse obsession with the Ahsoka character he created, when it should be the other way around? Anyway, some of the sets look decent in this episode, and those 10 words are everything positive we have to say about this one. When the episode first started and you hear an Imperial accent coming from the Imperial cruiser, for a second you thought they were going to introduce Grand Admiral Thrawn. It wouldn't have made up for all of the mistakes so far this season, but it would have been a big step in the right direction. Instead, this episode went the exact opposite direction and crash landed on planet Lizzo, where everything good or edible goes to die. Was this the worst Star Wars product since the infamous holiday special? On a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate this episode? And is that number higher than the number of times Lizzo has worked out in the last 5 years? Should Jack Black make a public apology for being involved in this debacle? Let us know in the comments below. Please remember to like the video if you liked it, as it helps us reach more struggling Star Wars fans. And if you haven't already, click the subscribe button to stay up to date on Season 3 of The Mandalorian, as well as for reviews of other current shows and movies. Thank you for joining us today, and we'll catch you on the next one.